Welcome back to another episode of The Road Chose Me. I'm going to pick up right where I left off and continue north on the mighty Dempster Highway into the Arctic Circle. If you haven't seen part one of the video, check that out now and then come back and watch this latest installment. Lots of adventures and lots of helpful information coming your way right now. So I finally caught up to the guy having tyre problems, and pretty quickly he explained the situation. He actually lives in Nunavik and he's on his way to Whitehorse. So I mean, he drives this road as part of his life. This just gets to his house. But a friend of his convinced to put cheap tyres on 4 months ago. So he's only had these tyres for 4 months, and you can see the carnage that the Dempster has, inflicted on these tyres. So one let go about 100 yards before he was able to pull over, and you can see how much damage that did to the rim. And then while he was trying to change that one, he realized one of the others had gone flat. And he said they're so cheap and the Dempster has torn them up so much that air is basically just coming out of all of it. So he said, even with my plug kit, we just have no hope of doing anything because air's coming out from so many different places. So we chatted for 5 or 10 minutes. He was really happy that I stopped. And he said it happened last night at about 11 p.m. And so he and his wife stopped there. They were able to pull off the road. And he said not a single vehicle went past between 11 p.m. and then earlier this morning when the people came past and flagged me down. So they had to spend the night in their car, which wasn't ideal, but I mean, they're from Nunavik, they're pretty tough, so they were okay. But it goes to show, if you have a problem on this road, then you probably will have to fend for yourself for a little while. And also, I know I've been harping on it, and I'm going to say it again, you have to have good quality tyres to drive these roads in the north. This is not the kind of place you want to bring the cheapest tyres that were on special, or those street tyres that, are fine when you're just driving around the city. This is the kind of place that demands a really high quality tyre. And here we can clearly see the evidence of what happens when you don't have high quality tyres. So a really controversial topic everyone always asks me about, which road is more beautiful, the Dempster Highway in Canada, or the Dalton Highway in Alaska? And so they sort of are very similar. They parallel each other. The Dalton goes all the way to the Arctic Ocean. It goes to Prudhoe Bay. Some people say Dead Horse, which is the huge big oil terminal at the end of the Alaska pipeline. And so the Dalton is really nice. It parallels the pipeline for literally the entire drive. So you always get kind of views of this pipeline snaking along next to the road. I would say the road is more industrial. There is a lot more heavy truck traffic and a lot more tourist traffic as well. And then the downside of the Dalton is that when you get to the Arctic Ocean, it's entirely closed off. You cannot drive to it. It's fenced off and gated because of security since 9/11. They don't want regular folk going into the big oil field area. It also pretty much is an industrial wasteland. It's not pretty, it's really disgusting in fact. And if you want to, you can pay to go on a tourist bus and they'll drive you up to the Arctic Ocean. You can put your feet in it and then drive you back out again. But it kind of, ruins the whole experience. You just arrive in this industrial wasteland oil town in the middle of the Arctic. Whereas when you drive the Dempster, you get the gorgeous Tombstone Mountains, you come through those Ogilvy Mountains, and now you're in true Arctic wilderness. And I've never been, but from what I've heard about Tuktoyaktuk is that it's just a beautiful little northern community with super friendly people. There's no industry there, there's no huge oil rigs. It's really beautiful, and you can just camp there and hang out and swim in the ocean or do whatever else you want. So for that reason, and in my opinion, if you were only going to drive one of them, I would recommend the Dempster. I do think it's a little bit more beautiful, it has way less traffic, and when you get to the ocean, you're free to do what you want. So to give you an example of what I mean to try and find wild camping, I've just found this tiny little offshoot here from the road. So here's what it looks like. It's really just tiny, and it's about lunchtime. I'm not looking to camp here, but I would love to have lunch. So let's just poke off the road. And obviously the further you go off the road, the quieter it's going to be. And not surprisingly, I'm going to guess that this is a gravel pit. So these are all the way on around northern roads, even in British Columbia, because they have to stock gravel to be able to work on the highways in the winter. They obviously want to put this on the roads. Let me just read that sign I drove past. I think it said it's the property of the Yukon. Unauthorised removal may lead to prosecution, says the sign. It doesn't say anything about hanging out here to have lunch or camping here for the night. So, I mean, this is the kind of place that I would really look for as a wild camp, where, you know, relatively close to the highway still, and actually this road keeps going, so I may as well, just for fun, just to see what's down here. But anywhere here, I see plenty of flat ground that I would be perfectly happy to camp on. And this is the kind of thing that I camped on all the time, Alaska to Argentina and all the way around Africa, just like this. And it makes me happy to get a little bit further off the road like this. I'll still be able to hear it just, which sort of in a way is comforting, but it also means I have a lot of privacy and the chances of someone coming in here and finding me are pretty slim. So yeah, it really can be this easy to try and find a wild camp. Oh yeah, and have a look. As expected, look at that. There's a little fire ring right there. Someone's even made a seat. So I would say very likely other people have camped in this exact spot that I've now found. And even though the road goes on a little bit further, I think I'm going to stop here. So time to have some lunch, and I'll throw the drone in the air and I'll show you what it looks like. Get a sense for just how far away from the world I really am right now. I stop at Eagle Plains for a quick gas refill, and you can see this place is pretty big. Not after the splash and go, I keep moving, and it's not far at all until I reach one of the mighty milestones on this earth. So here it is. I have driven once again to the Arctic Circle. So I'm only like 40 kilometers, 25 miles past Eagle Plains, and the road took a severe turn. You can see the mud here that's just started accumulating on the Jeep. This is all just from the last 25 miles. So yeah, the road just suddenly got slippery and things have changed a lot. The weather is really coming in. I'll be surprised if this doesn't turn to snow tonight. But yeah, the Arctic Circle, this is it. You can see this is what it looks like in late fall. It isn't winter yet. You know, there's no snow anywhere. Nothing is frozen, even though technically this is the Arctic Circle. So insanely beautiful place to be. I was hanging out here once with a friend. We were up here hunting, and from this very spot we put eyes on probably the biggest grizzly bear I've ever seen in my life. So they breed them big up here, there's no doubt about that. But I'm going to continue a little further north. I wonder if I'm going to be hunkering in the Jeep tonight, if this turns to snow or if it gets a lot colder. But yeah, it's a beautiful place to come up here. I highly, highly recommend, you know, coming at least as far as the Arctic Circle sign. It's one of those places on the earth when you get here, you say, you know, this is incredible. It's really, you know, there isn't land that much further north, and then there's nowhere else to go to. Yeah, so Arctic Circle, and then continue further north. I'm just looking at this. Look at this scoop. Wonder if the microphone picks that up. So I've driven up to within about 5 kilometers of the Northwest Territories border, and you can see the clouds have, well, I guess the clouds haven't come down. I've gone up into the clouds, and this is a spot actually I've camped here before when looking for caribou. When the herd comes through, we kind of always hope it comes through about here because we're still in the Yukon just. And I was planning to head up to the border. There's an amazing hike up there where I can look down the other side of the mountains and kind of see Northwest Territories in all of its glory. But as you can see, well, there's some snow right there. As you can see with the weather the way it is, I'm not going to get much on film right now. But what a spot, hey? Look at this. This kind of looks like the end of the earth. So I think my plan is I'm basically going to hunker down for the afternoon, keep my eyes on the weather, maybe read a book, have a hot drink, and fingers crossed the weather is going to be much improved in the morning. And if so, I'm going to get up, throw the drone in the air, go for a hike, and really show you guys around, what this little magic section of the Dempster looks like. I'm fully in the tundra now. There are essentially no trees from here north, just these little kind of scraggly things that, again, look kind of end of the earth. So this is it. From here, there literally aren't any trees on the earth. I really am getting like that close to the edge of the earth. And I know this spot too is really famous for having big grizzly bears wander through. Because so many people shoot caribou around here and leave the gut piles around and stuff, the grizzlies are actually known to come towards vehicles and come towards gunshots because they know it means free food. So I've had quite a few friends camping here who've had grizzlies like stand up on the side of their car and stuff like that. So I'll be keeping a very sharp ear and eye out for those guys. And I kind of hope I don't see one being all alone and without my rifle. But at the same time, if I do see one, I'll try as hard as I can to get it on film for you guys. So in the meantime, I'm going to try and stay warm. It's just a couple of degrees above freezing right now, which I think all but guarantees it will snow here tonight, or at least some freezing rain, and some of these puddles will freeze over. So hopefully I can stay warm enough. Let's see how the night goes. And before I sign off, let's have a good inspection of the Jeep. So keep in mind, this is only having driven the Dempster so far. I've only come up however many miles I've done. So this is the kind of stuff that accumulates on your vehicle. And just remember too, this is why I've told you I like to run mud flaps and why I don't have tires that stick out past the guards. Can you imagine what this carnage would look like if my tires were wider than the vehicle? Look how hard it is now to live inside this vehicle because of the way that it's so coated. If these tires were any wider, it just wouldn't even be fun to be near this vehicle. Like, look at the amount of mud that's caked on here. So for my money, I just have no interest in getting big wide tires that are going to fling even more mud at my vehicle. But Jeep's running really well. She's done great up until this point, and I'm really looking forward to climbing inside now and having a little house for the evening. You guys have heard me say it a few times now that where you hang out, where you cook, and where you sleep are going to have a bigger impact on your trip than anything else, like the badge on the front of your vehicle or what suspension you have. And case in point, you guys haven't seen this yet, I am actually standing up inside the back of my Jeep. So I promised to do a full video on this soon, but basically once I pop the roof and I move the sleeping platform out of the way, you can see I'm standing back here. There's my fridge, my cabinets, looking forward into the driver's area. And I can totally sit here like this. I could actually move these wooden planks out of the way even more, but you can see I can sit in here, read a book, make a sandwich, work on my laptop. I am totally warm and dry right now, and outside it's literally an Arctic wind that was making my fingers go numb after about 5 minutes outside. So, in a vehicle as small as a Jeep Wrangler, this is a really nice feature to have, and I promise I'll do a video on all of this soon. I just wanted to show you how warm and cozy you really can be if you design and build your vehicle fit for purpose. Well, good morning everyone. I have just climbed out of bed and check it out. It is almost crystal clear. The clouds just picking up a tiny bit of color there from sunrise. Absolutely stunning day. I am so stoked. And it was pretty chilly last night. I'm just over here near a puddle. There's actually ice on top of this. I don't know if you're able to see this. There's a fraction bit of ice on that. So I'm going to guess it was just hovering right around freezing last night. But have a look at this spot that I'm camping in. I've got coffee on the go over there. And I am super stoked. So I'm going to get moving here and go for a bit of a walk, throw the drone in the air and drive the last few kilometers up to the Northwest Territories border. But camping inside the Arctic Circle, this is absolutely breathtaking. Let me throw the drone in the air right now and I'll give you a better look at where I camped last night. This is hard to believe. I had this all to myself. There's nobody around. There's a good amount of snow on those mountains there that are not too far away and only just a little bit above me, but no snow down here at my level, which I'm surprised about. I just don't think there was any precip last night. But I dodged a bullet on that one because it is now, September 17, so it's going to be any day now this is going to get coated in snow. So quick coffee, drone in the air. Let's get moving for the final leg that I can drive this time on the Dempster Highway. As you saw, I've just driven 20 or so kilometers into the Northwest Territories. And when I was up here a few years ago, a local told me about this amazing hike. So I've just parked the Jeep in this gravel pit, whatever you want to call it. And this is the end of the mountains here. So I'm going to hike up to the top of that guy there in front of me, if you can see it. Maybe a half an hour hike, no big deal. And when I look down, that is nothing but Arctic tundra all the way to the Arctic Ocean. So this is an absolutely breathtaking place to come and have a look. And come with me, I'll show you the view from the top. What a place to be. The scale up here is so hard to understand. Everything is so enormous. I can barely even see the Jeep down there now, and I was only hiking for half an hour. When I was driving here, it felt like the Jeep was lacking in power. I was a bit worried. But then I realized it's just because the mountains are so steep and the hill climbs so severe. I was gearing down just to go up them. And what an incredible place. You can see here, this is facing south back towards Yukon and all of Canada and the US as you know it. And then as I spin around, this is looking north up the Dempster, and that goes all the way to the Arctic Ocean. I'm only about 220 miles from Tuktoyaktuk, which is the end of the earth. So strange as that sounds, that's as far north as dirt goes on this planet. After that, you've got some water, then some ice, and then the North Pole. It's really, really staggering when you get up here, kind of to contemplate where you are and, you know, the adventures that the vehicles we have enable us to take. So incredible. So if you can't tell, the Dempster Highway is one of, if not the most beautiful drives in the entire world. Having access to all of this is so incredible. And in any normal year, you can just drive up here. You can have this same adventure. So I highly encourage you, plan a trip to the north and make sure the Dempster's on your list. You'll remember this for the rest of your life. I guarantee it. I know that I certainly am going to. So for me now, with the weather like this, I think I might stick around for a couple of days, do a couple of more hikes, see what other trouble I can find, and then I'm just going to slowly make my way back down to civilization, back off the Dempster, and see what adventures come next. Plenty more videos coming from the north teaching you how to get out and get to magical places like this. So if you've enjoyed this series, please do hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what else you'd like to know about or where else you'd like me to go and show you and teach you how to get out. My whole goal is to teach you guys to do this kind of stuff. So don't be afraid, ask a question and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. In the meantime, I'm going to try and take in more of this view and contemplate where I've actually gotten to. Sun is just creeping up. It's soon to touch the Jeep and the solar panels, but I'll probably be back on the road before that. So thanks for watching. So here's a random one for you. I'm heading south again, and I've just stopped at the Arctic Circle here to cook some breakfast. And I realized when I got up to the Northwest Territories that I left my tripod behind when I was here, when I was taking photos. And driving into the parking lot, there it is, tripod still sitting exactly where I left it nearly 24 hours later. So not only do people in the north look out for each other and help each other on this highway, they also don't steal your stuff when you leave it behind right in the middle of the road. So there you go, hi tripod. Been all the way around Africa with me, would have been shame to lose it. So yeah, reunited with tripod, gotta love that.